surface, it seemed like the beef.
Okay, so this video is what nobody noticed about The Rock versus John Cena. This is a video by a YouTuber named Patrick CC. He makes good videos as well. Here are some that I've watched recently. He did a Jim Carrey one. Yes, The Awakening of Jim Carrey, Hollywood's Worst Nightmare. Very good video. He actually did a Conan video too, right before that. The overthrow of Conan O'Brien exposed Hollywood's corruption. Talked a lot about the Jay Leno situation. Ooh, I watched his Danny Trejo video as well. Hollywood didn't deserve him. Danny Trejo's redemption story. So this guy consistently puts out good stuff. So I was very curious to see this topic, because I don't really know much about the Rock versus John Cena. It always seemed like there was a rivalry between the two, but I know nothing about it. So in this video, we're gonna learn all about it. Okay.
Between John Cena and The Rock was nothing more than a typical scripted WWE segment. However, Cena would later admit that it was personal, and he meant every hateful thing he said about The Rock.
So interesting. It kind of, I don't know. I was never a wrestling guy, so I didn't really keep up with like storylines or anything like that from WWE, but I always kind of assumed there was some real tension between The Rock and John Cena, but I just never knew. I never even looked into it.
It became a real feud between you and The Rock.
Oh my God, yeah.
This is the part where I'm supposed to say, I look forward to WrestleMania because I personally respect The Rock. I don't.
Now, it's interesting that Cena claimed to not respect The Rock when he followed his exact career path, becoming a WWE superstar, then leveraging that fame to secure opportunities in
It's very true.
Hollywood.
It's very true. I was always excited to see the John Cena rise to acting fame after seeing The Rock do it. And John Cena in the Fred the movie was the first like stepping stone towards that.
Productions. The Rock was loved in the WWE, but after he abandoned the business, he slowly ruined his public perception with his repetitive mediocre movies, pathological lies, hyperinflated ego, and stripping all of his humanity to become a walking advertisement. John Cena was one of The Rock's original haters, and he saw right through The Rock's phony character long before you and I did. And since then, he seemingly assessed all the mistakes The Rock made and now has the perfect blueprint of what not to do. And it's working perfectly. As The Rock's reputation is at an all-time low, and his movies are bombing left and right, Cena's career is on a strong upward trajectory with no signs of slowing down. Today we are going to analyze exactly how John Cena stole The Rock's legacy, becoming the actual people's champion. Cena and Rock
This is very interesting. I'm ready to dive in. I'm ready to do this.
Nearly the exact same experience upon entering the WWE. They both desperately needed a rebrand since fans were not connecting with the character or lack of character they presented. Starting with Dwayne Johnson making his WWF debut as Rocky Maivia in 1996. Nicknamed the Blue Chipper, Johnson was hyped as the WWF's first third-generation wrestler, as his father and grandfather led a historic wrestling bloodline. Rocky became the company's Intercontinental Champion.
I didn't even know that he had such a legacy in wrestling. That's crazy.
And wrestled his first WrestleMania match within months of entering the promotion. However,
yeah,
why
did I always think that The Rock was just like he had like humble beginnings and like just came out of nowhere and decided to go into wrestling? Like, why did I? Weird.
Accept him with open arms.
Rocky sucks! Rocky sucks!
WWF fans became increasingly hostile towards Maivia, with chants of "Die Rocky Die" being heard during his matches. Cena also had a tough time with the crowd in the beginning of his career. John made his WWE television debut on SmackDown in 2002 by answering Kurt Angle's open challenge. When asked what quality made him capable of being a superstar, he infamously responded that he had ruthless aggression, and then put on a well-fought match against one of the company's best technicians. Despite his good looks, babyface appeal, and being built like an absolute house, Cena was not resonating with fans, and there really wasn't much to like. He looked and felt like when you create a My Player in a video game and don't have any upgrades unlocked. Even though wrestling is scripted, how the fans react to the show is entirely real. Wrestlers can either lean into the fact that fans hate them and become the villain, aka turn heel, or try to figure out a way to get the crowd on their side. Both men felt their career was on the ropes, and both of them had a drive for success like no other. However, this is where Dwayne and John chose different paths. In August of '97, Dwayne deaded the Rocky Maivia.
Actually, it's interesting to see you watch this as a non-wrestling fan. Yeah, I don't know. It's the thing is, like, you're completely right, Camilo. I'm not a wrestling fan at all, but these are wrestlers I know. You know what I mean? These are two of the most famous wrestlers out in the world. So, like, everyone knows them, The Rock and John Cena, whether it's because of the wrestling or because of the moves and stuff that they've been in. So, I don't know anything of, like, what their actual wrestling career actually looked like. I just knew that they were insanely famous. And I always just saw this comparison, this tension between The Rock and John Cena, and I was curious to see what it was actually like. So that's why I was when this video got uploaded, like a couple of weeks ago. I was curious to see. I wanted to know the story. I wanted to know the story of like what's the similarities and the differences between these two. So I am looking forward to this. And also, before we continue, as a wrestling fan myself, I'm interested to see what's said. I know a lot of history already. Yeah, okay, cool. So Camilo can play the fact checker as we watch this video. But before we continue watching it, I do have to use the bathroom. So I will be right back. Mute. Okay, I'm back. Camilo, you do me a favor and let me know if you can hear the fan in the background. I turned it back on because it was getting hot in here. But yeah, just let me know if that's too annoying or not. But anyway, yeah, let's continue.
A name and referred to himself in the third person as The Rock. He had officially turned heel. Now portraying a self-absorbed narcissist, The Rock regularly insulted the audience.
Okay. So he started as Rocky, kind of like a good guy, but then turned into The Rock, who was more of like a villain type. Okay.
Name and referred to himself in the third person as The Rock.
It's minimal. Okay, as long as it's like not annoying to the audio, then I'll just leave it on.
Rock. He had officially turned heel. Now portraying a self-absorbed narcissist, The Rock regularly
And he's not playing that. He is not playing that, folks. Just spoiler alert.
insulted the audience, fellow wrestlers, and interviewers whenever he could. The Rock mastered the art of cutting promos, whether he was delivering one of his signature catchphrases like, "If you smell what The Rock is cooking," or roasting his opponents in backstage interviews. He had the crowd fully immersed into the world
It's not okay, good.
he created. It was hard for The Rock to remain heel because the crowd loved him too much, which led to him dubbing himself the People's Champion. In order to stay heel, he aligned himself with Vince McMahon, who was unanimously hated by the fans as he represented the evil wrestling corporation.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know people hated Vince McMahon.
This became the perfect setup for The Rock to feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was easily the fan favorite, plus he was already in a vicious battle with Vince. The Rock and Stone Cold's rivalry could be considered the greatest feud of all time, as these two were the biggest stars in the Attitude Era, which is unanimously agreed upon as the best era for wrestling. But that's not just the fans' opinion, it's objective
Is
fact.
that true, Camila? Is the Attitude Era the best part of wrestling?
In the late 90s, the WWE was at its peak in average viewership and ratings. It was looking like The Rock was going to steamroll into the 2000s and have a career as dominant and long
It's true. Okay, it's true.
lasting as Hulk Hogan. Then he did the unthinkable. At 32 years old, while he was still the #1 draw in the WWE,
Oh wow, he's 32 here.
he retired from wrestling and pursued a full-time Hollywood career. Some criticized The Rock, saying that he turned his back on the fans that made him, and John Cena made sure he would not make this same mistake. Right around the same time that Rock quit, Cena unintentionally saved his wrestling career in what can only be described as divine intervention. On the tour bus overseas, some of
John Cena says freestyle rapping saved his WWE career. Really?
the guys are freestyling in the back. I just went in the back and waited for my turn and joined in, and just did the best I could to try to unleash the fury. And at the front of the bus was Stephanie McMahon. She was head of writing at the time. She was like, "How did you remember all that?" I kind of explained the concept of
He really does look better bald. Rock with hair is not it. Like, whenever I think of The Rock having hair, I think of him in that movie, The Game Plan, which I don't think. No, he did Mummy before that, but this movie, This is when I imagine him with hair. This I just think about this.
freestyling, and she's like, "Well, make something up about me right now." Sure enough, on the spot, I spit a few bars. After impressing the writers, John decided to go all in on the new gimmick. Inspired by hip-hop culture, he rebranded himself into a brash, freestyle rapping, street-smart wrestler who used rhymes to insult opponents and hype up the crowd. He
Interesting.
wore baggy jeans, throwback jerseys, a backwards cap, and a chain with a padlock.
You need to hit them sit-ups too. You're not exactly the leanest. Forget seeing me, bro. You can't see your own penis.
Fans loved when Cena roasted wrestlers with his bars, but even they weren't safe from his ruthless rhymes.
That freestyle was whack. I couldn't wait for it to end. I got no wife, but you got a boyfriend.
Up until this point,
Nice.
the WWE embraced rock music to match its gritty aesthetic. Cena promoting hip-hop was a fresh change for the business.
Yeah, that really is interesting because like wrestling does feel more like a rock and roll type thing. So for him to put like hip hop and rap into it, that's interesting. Wow.
Plus, it was culturally relevant. In the early 2000s, rappers like 50 Cent were dominating pop culture while wearing baggy clothes and rocking diamond chains that spun. Cena won the titles and redesigned the belts to match that of a famous rapper. But that wasn't the only thing about Cena that hip-hop inspired. G-Unit rapper Tony Yayo had a signature move where he waved his hand in front of his face, and that simple move would have an astronomical amount of influence on John Cena.
Wait, what? John Cena did not invent the "you can't see me" gesture? What? Excuse the hell out of me?
G-Unit rapper Tony Yayo had a signature move where he waved his hand in front of his face, and that simple move would have an astronomical amount of influence on John Cena's life.
Wow.
You see, John Cena was not just role-playing.
Even Camilo didn't even know that. Wow, John Cena is a plagiarist. I mean, look at this. Damn. That's so
playing
interesting.
a rapper. He actually rapped, and to prove that, he released his debut album, You Can't See Me, in 2005.
He had an
the
album?
lead single, The Time Is Now, would end up becoming his iconic entrance theme music. When playing the song for
Whoa.
his little brother, he noticed his brother doing the hand gesture while vibing the beat, which inspired Cena to do it on television to shout out his little bro.
50 Cent's crew had a really popular song called In the Club. And he heard it the first time, and instead of dancing, he did this. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, no, everybody does this, man. Everybody does this. And he's like, you won't do it on TV. So what the hell do I gotta lose? What are you gonna do, fire me? Of course I'll do it on TV. But instead of doing this, I did this.
The phrase, "You can't see me," was his way of taunting his opponents. It's kind of like saying, "You're not on my level." However, as a joke, fans took the phrase literally, pretending that Cena was actually invisible, leading
The meme is like, no, he's just invisible.
to countless photos and videos where people pretended to not see John Cena. Check any Reddit thread or comment section throughout the internet discussing Cena, and you will see some sort of joke referencing that they can't see him. The meme has held strong for decades. Just recently, Kai Cenat and iShowSpeed collabed with John Cena and both played into the joke.
No, who y'all talking to? Oh, why y'all talking to y'all so? What? No, we get with John.
Where's he at? Where's he at? John Cena.
It's kind of crazy that that joke, it's kind of one of like the most long-lasting memes if you think about it. It's crazy. Like it just never gets old. Like John Cena being invisible, like it kind of feels like it'll always kind of be funny to people, which is crazy because like a lot of memes these days have like very little of a life online. Like it'll last like 5 minutes before it stops being funny. But like, you can't see me, John Cena. That's like timeless. It's ethereal. It's crazy.
John Cena, where's he at?
From there, the internet took a liking to making John Cena-related memes. It's hard to explain why, he's just memeable.
What kind of animal would John Cena be?
A tiger, because he has the eye of the tiger.
He does have the eye of the tiger.
Are you sure about that?
My personal
That's where that came from. I've always just seen
Eye of the tiger.
He does have the eye of the tiger.
I just see him doing this part.
Are you sure about that?
That was during like a kid interview. That's fine.
My personal favorite is Unexpected John Cena, which refers to a jump scare trend that interrupts.
John Cena!
And while some other
I
people
love that one.
would likely get annoyed if they were being made fun of by millions of people instead of being praised as the biggest, baddest dude on the planet, Cena embraces the memes, and he doesn't mind being the butt of a joke.
And that's a key difference. That's the key difference right there, because The Rock could not handle that.
And I never get offended. I love hearing it. I think it's extremely creative. It's something that's been in the internet cycle for so long, but it still never gets old.
John showing admiration
It
for
doesn't.
what most
It really
would deem
doesn't.
as annoying is just one of the many reasons why he is seen as a man of the people. Just like The Rock, Cena quickly exploded to the top of the WWE roster and was the face of the promotion. And also, just like The Rock, he stepped into an acting role as John Triton from The Marine. WWE
Was that his
Films,
first movie?
now
I've
known
never
to
even
an
heard of
acting
that. I've never heard of this. The Marine John Cena. When was this? The Marine. 2006. Oh man, this was his first movie? 17 on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, that's definitely before the Fred movie. 'Cause that was until like, what, 2009? 2010?
role as John Triton from The Marine. WWE
You've never seen The Marine? No, I've never seen this stupid fucking movie. Why would I have seen... Okay. A discharged soldier, John Cena, returns home from Iraq and finds that his wife, Kelly Carlson, has been kidnapped by a gang of murderous jewel thief, Robert Patrick. Soldier John Triton must see all his military skills to rescue his wife from her ruthless captors. And it's become a whole series. Look at this. There are 6 of these movies. All the way up to 2018. Yeah, but he's not in these anymore, is he? He's not in every single one. No. See, look, The Miz is in this. The Miz is in this movie. Is just... It's a movie called 12 Rounds. Interesting. Was he in the 4th one? No. The Miz. Oh, The Miz took over the franchise, I'm seeing here. Wait. The Machine 3. The Miz. The Marine 2. What? Dude, what? So John Cena was only in the first one. That's crazy. And yet they made 6 movies out of it. I liked it, but I haven't watched it since then. Yeah.
Films.
And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. Oops.
Is crucial in expanding the brand beyond wrestling and into mainstream pop culture. They produced No Holds Barred, one of the first films that helped launch Hulk Hogan's acting career. The company also co-produced The Scorpion King, a film that introduced The Rock to Hollywood. Now, the WWE hoped the Marine could do the same thing for another superstar. However, Cena admitted that he was not ready to step into film. It was actually Vince McMahon who basically ordered him to do it.
Vince said, hey, I gotta send you to Australia. It's okay, what am I doing? He said, well, you're gonna be in a movie. Okay, when? I gotta send you in 10 days, but I pretty much left a small meeting in his office and packed my bags.
Even though The Marine received mostly negative reviews, it garnered over $22 million at the worldwide box office. As soon as The Rock got a taste of Hollywood, he planned his exit. Cena did the exact opposite. He wanted to stay in the squared circle and help boost up the industry that made him who he is. However, playing the role of a US Marine did help Cena shed his Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick. He retired the sports jerseys and massive chains and slowed down on the rap promos. Instead, Cena flipped his backwards cap forward, wore dog chains, and preached patriotic values of hustle, loyalty, respect. As the face of the company, Cena held the WWE's most prestigious title for a combined 793 days. He would briefly lose the belt only to make a heroic comeback and reign champion. This was strategically designed by the WWE's writers to establish Cena as a strong, never-give-up hero for their younger audience, and it worked. But it also led to backlash from older fans who believed it made the matches too predictable. This spawned the Cena wins LOL meme, which has led to deep discussions of Cena wins LOL moments where it was obvious that his special treatment in the WWE was the only reason he won. Taking a page out of The Rock's playbook, Cena aligned himself with Vince McMahon. John said, "Vince McMahon to me is more than anyone could realize. He's a close friend, a mentor, a father figure. He means a tremendous amount to me. I don't know if I'll ever be able to conceptualize how much I love him and how much he means to me. That's why I've invested so much of my blood, sweat, and tears. I don't want to see it fall off. I want to see it be everywhere. I want to see it be larger. I want to see it have more success." Wrestling fans' perception of Cena was divided. On one hand, people were tired of seeing the same guy dominate. On the other hand, it's great that the face of the company is loyal to the brand and wants to continue to see it grow. Unlike The Rock, who retired early and left the business in the dust. Despite being a WWE superstar, Dwayne Johnson struggled to establish himself as a leading man in action films. He only found financial success in
The Game Plan. I mean, it had to come up. It had to come up.
family-friendly films like The Game Plan and Tooth Fairy, but they didn't challenge his acting abilities, nor was this his ideal role in Hollywood.
It wasn't, but The Game Plan and Tooth Fairy did establish him to like people like my age, for example, if you weren't a wrestling fan like myself. Bro, John Cena even learned Mandarin for the WWE to try to get onto Chinese market. I know he knows Mandarin. That part of John Cena lore I do know, because there is that meme of him just speaking Mandarin, and I always thought it was just like AI or something like that, but it's like, no, it's real. John Cena did anything for the WWE. Yeah, I'm really starting to see that. I'm really starting to see the loyalty there.
His career took a step in the right direction with his role in The Other Guys and lead in the action film Faster. By this point, he had spent 7 years as a
I've never heard of that.
full-time actor, and yes, he was successful, but he still wasn't satisfied. Lucky for him, a perfect storm was developing. The Rock got an opportunity to be a part of the Fast and Furious franchise, which was a multi-billion-dollar global movie empire. If Dwayne's role as Luke Hobbs went over well with fans, it would establish him as the global action star he dreamt of being. This is why many people believe he only returned to the WWE 7 years after his retirement to maximize his publicity and promotion power, as his return was conveniently 2 months before the release of this monumental film. film. Then again, the WWE needed him badly at this point, because they were a few years deep into what is now known as the PG era, and ratings were plummeting. The PG era refers to WWE's shift to family-friendly TV PG programming. This change was made to
Camilo, is this true? Fact check.
appeal to a broader audience, attracting corporate sponsors and securing lucrative TV deals. This PG era negatively impacted the WWE by stripping away much of the intensity, unpredictability, and edgy storytelling that made the company thrive during the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression eras. They eliminated blood, extreme violence, and risque segments,
God, boring. It seems like it.
and introduced over-scripted promos, sanitized
Wrestling shouldn't be PG. Like, that's... I don't know. Yeah, I just don't see that working.
characters
It needs it's slight edge to it. It's just edgy, you know?
and weaker heels, making feuds feel less personal and intense. The overexposure of Cena as a kid-friendly superhero alienated older audiences. The crowd would scream, "John Cena sucks," whenever he made his entrance. They
John
were fed up
Cena
and disappointed with the company as a whole, so they took their anger out on the top talent. This would have been the perfect time for Cena to turn heel, but in the PG era, it is nearly impossible to play a villain while still being kid-friendly. Plus, he was still the young kid's favorite. The WWE needed to come up with a villain the crowd could root for against Cena, and they brought back one of the best heels of all time, The Rock. And if you thought John Cena and The Rock's beef was nothing
I love this image. It's awesome.
more than a fake feud for entertainment, you'd be wrong. The Rock made his long-awaited return in February of
I'm low-key been watching some wrestling lately. Okay, well, I mean, if you're saying it's back, then we're back, baby.
2011, where he announced he would be hosting the upcoming WrestleMania. During his promo, Johnson took shots at Cena. The following week, Cena responded with a rap where he mocked Johnson's acting career.
It's because I wasn't talking trash, Rock. I was talking truth. You left us hanging high and dry to play a fairy with a tooth?
This feud went back and forth for weeks, with The Rock constantly embarrassing Cena by making fun of his bright-colored clothes, fake gangster persona, and kid-friendly appeal. It was then established that The Rock would face off against John Cena, icon vs. icon billed as once in a lifetime, at WrestleMania 28, making it the first WrestleMania match to be set up 1 year in advance. In the meantime, Cena continued to be the antagonist in the ring, night after night for a year straight, getting booed by fans during his feud with CM Punk. The Cena hate was not fake. The fans genuinely despised this guy. They were sick of seeing him win, and he had a chip on his shoulder. So when it came time to take some shots at The Rock, the line between reality and fiction got blurry.
You know what? Vince is probably going to find me for this one, but the only reason he came back in the first place was to promote Fast 5 and launch his Twitter account.
Cena felt like he needed to remind everyone that he was the one who stayed loyal to the business, that he helped rising talent make a name for themselves, and that he will continue to remain in the ring even after becoming a mainstream superstar. But Cena was fighting an uphill battle, and the crowd favored the legend over him. He let his personal feelings about The Rock get the best of him and committed a cardinal sin in the WWE.
Just like I don't need my notes from my promo on my wrist. Nice tattoo.
Cena called out The Rock for writing his script notes on his wrist, essentially admitting that wrestling is fake. You can see The Rock stop dead in his tracks.
Oh, interesting.
This was a low blow, and many wrestling fans hated that Cena broke the fourth wall because he had no other way of competing with the
We've
legend.
seen enough.
Others saw this as him simply speaking the truth, and that Rock writing his notes on his wrist shows a lack of preparation and respect for his character in the WWE.
Wow.
The two continued blurring the lines between real
Sorry, what the hell is this? He performing music on a wrestling match?
and kayfabe when The Rock performed a concert where he mentioned Cena's rumored infidelity and divorce. Cena briefly brought back his Doctor of Thugonomics character, hoping nostalgia would win the crowd over. Cena later admitted that this was more than scripted entertainment. He actually did not respect The Rock.
I'm going to jab this guy because I have nothing to lose. I have all the leverage.
Right.
I'm there every day, and I love being there every day, and nothing is really pulling me away from being there.
But were you hurt that The Rock left? In other words, were you like, hey, he shouldn't do that? You got to respect the WWE.
No. I guess my angle came from the fact that he was openly saying, like, I love the WWE. And I'm like, man, if you love it, why aren't you here?
This drama continued up until their highly anticipated match at WrestleMania 28. However, the match needed to be choreographed, so Cena and The Rock had to be in a private room together a couple days before the event. Expecting bad blood, Cena was surprised when The Rock was professional, poised and enthusiastic to work with him. Cena realized his own ego was getting in his way and decided to do the match exactly.
You gotta love the jean shorts. I love it. I love seeing John Cena rock those.
How The Rock wanted to do it, which did end with The Rock securing the victory in front of 80,000 people in his hometown. It was a legendary moment for The Rock, and Cena did something that The Rock would never do. He apologized.
First and foremost, I went to his mom. And I said I was sorry, and I hope she understood everything that I was doing was just for business. And his mom is an ace. She was amazing. And then I went to him, and I always traveled with a jug of like pure Tennessee moonshine. And I went to him with a mason jar and said, this is kind of a tradition we have on the road now. I just wanted to share this tradition with you, but I hope you understand that everything by the result of what just happened, I didn't put up any reluctance to take the 3 count. I didn't put up any reluctance to the finish. And I think it was in those 30 minutes that he had a greater understanding of this kid's just a little ignorant. He was trying as hard as he could. He doesn't see the whole picture yet.
1 year later, they had a rematch at WrestleMania 29 where Cena got his redemption and won. Cena and The Rock had a respectful handshake before leaving the ring, signaling the end of their rivalry. Just like Cena predicted, The Rock left the WWE again to focus on Hollywood, while Cena continued to stay loyal to the company. The Rock and Cena's feud was the last glimmer of excitement in the WWE, as the company's sad and slow demise was ever present in the 2010s. Social media made it easier for wrestlers to diminish the illusion of characters and storylines. The roster was objectively more athletically talented, but the company seemingly abandoned all effort into storytelling. Additionally, WWE's monopoly over the industry left little competition, making the product feel stagnant compared to the more edgy and competitive eras of the past. I don't think anyone would blame John Cena if he decided to retire at this point, but at the WWE's lowest moment, he decided he would do whatever he could to help the company. He created the US Open Challenge, where each week he would come to the ring and allow any WWE wrestler to face him for the US title instead of strictly defending his title at pay-per-view events. By defending the title weekly, Cena elevated its status while also showcasing new and rising talent, giving competitors in the locker room a platform to shine in high-profile matches. After 10 years at the top, the WWE finally decided it was time for somebody to take his spot. Cena had been relegated to a side character in major storylines. Gradually, he made less televised appearances and would sometimes disappear from programming for several weeks at a time. And that's because he, just like The Rock, was transitioning to Hollywood. Cena appeared in the war thriller film The Wall, a tense, minimalist story set during the Iraq War, focusing on 2 American soldiers pinned down by an unseen enemy sniper. He also reprised his role as Roger in the buddy comedy Daddy's Home 2.
I'm in this, yes.
He also reprised his role as Roger in the buddy comedy Daddy's Home.
I always forget that
Enemy Sniper. He also reprised his role as Roger.
I've been in the same room with John Cena. And not even just like in a wrestling, like on set, on a movie, I've seen this guy, like he was really close. Like in the shot, he's like with a buddy of mine that I had met shooting that movie. It's crazy. I don't even think about that.
In the buddy comedy Daddy's Home 2, opposite Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. He also appeared in the animated comedy film Ferdinand, where he played the main protagonist. Ferdinand was a commercial success, and would be nominated for Best Animated Feature at the 90th Academy Awards. Wow. Meanwhile, the WWE's next new superstar, Roman Reigns, was quick to call Cena a hypocrite for becoming the thing that he hated about The Rock. He also
Oh, interesting. That is interesting. I know Roman Reigns is kind of like the current guy right now. So that is interesting that he's calling John Cena.
So claimed Cena ruled with an iron fist and used his power with Vince McMahon to constantly bury talent whenever he wanted, being handed opportunities that he didn't deserve.
I'm still here because you can't do your job.
The truth is, the WWE needed Cena, and he carried the company on his back while ratings dropped year after year. He had absolutely no problem helping new talent, trying new storylines, getting booed by the crowd. If it was helping the business, it was good with him. He remained the top.
Which is like so cool about John Cena, is that because as we could see, The Rock jumped ship as soon as he could. But John Cena is like sticking to this company through thick and thin.
guy because nobody else had the star power to take his spot. Now, it's hard to blame the individual wrestlers, as building up new talent requires great storytelling from writers, and also Vince McMahon and other corporate decision makers taking risks on guys. But at the end of the day, all of the greatest wrestlers have the ability to work a crowd and fully immerse them into their character, and it's hard to argue against Cena being one of the greats. As John exited the WWE and entered Hollywood, he may have learned what made everyone despise The Rock's films, and decided to go into the industry with the exact opposite strategy, by first being very selective of the projects he
Which is crazy because he does end up in the Fast and Furious franchise.
takes on. He said, "Step one is reading something and liking the material. My poor agent will be like, they're considering you for this, and I hate being a dick about it, but I'm like, send me the material. I know you think it's a great opportunity, but if you sign me up for this opportunity and my heart's not in it, it's going to suck. I'm going to suck, everybody is going to suffer, I'm going to hate promoting it, and we're going to set ourselves back. So, send it to me and let me read it. If I enjoy it, then we'll talk."
Which is, by the way, what you should be doing when you're acting in movies. You shouldn't just say yes to being in anything, because if it's horrible, then it's like, it's probably going to have repercussions to your career. So you should be picky about where you're going to be in.
This is the polar opposite of The Rock's mentality. If he doesn't love the material, he will just change the entire story to benefit him. The Rock has a contract in every one of his movies that specifically says that he cannot lose a fight on screen.
Okay, so I heard about this, but that Vin Diesel has this clause in his contract. And then I would hear recently more and more people talk about like The Rock having it, and I thought, like, I think people are confusing it with Vin Diesel. But like, no, I think they just like both have that in their contracts, that they can't lose a fight, which is, by the way, just so stupid. As you have to be the most egotistical person to want to, like, hey man, I can't look bad in a movie. It's just like, what are we talking about? Like, oh my god, it's just so annoying. I hate when people like do this.
He also bashed his Fast 8 male co-stars, calling them candy asses that get his blood boiling because he didn't have creative control. We found out this rant was targeted at Vin Diesel specifically when a production source told TMZ, in part because Vin is a producer and has made decisions that didn't sit well with the former wrestling champ. Another source explained that Vin was having problems with The Rock because he kept showing up late for production, sometimes failing to show up at all. Even during the filming of his 2024 Christmas movie, Red One, he admitted to the criticism of him showing up 7 to 8 hours late for filming and even peeing in bottles when he wasn't near his trailer. But The Rock doesn't only throw little temper tantrums when he doesn't get his way. He once tried to restructure the entire DC extended universe just to give his role as Black Adam a more...
Don't even get me started on the whole Black Adam thing. It's one of the main reasons why Vin Diesel and Rock don't get along. Thus they both get big egos. Yeah, for sure. I hate that's the thing in general, and then I hate this shit about the whole Black Adam DC thing.
Entire DC extended universe just to give his role as Black Adam a more favorable outcome. Dwayne tries to sell himself as bigger than the movie, said a high-ranking Hollywood executive who asked for anonymity. He's one of the few people who always thinks he's the most important person in any situation or room. Dwayne posted on his Instagram, "The hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change," hinting that he was going to try to make Black Adam the center of the DC universe. It was revealed that the main issue...
Crazy. Which is insane. Black Adam. Sincerely, you think Black Adam is gonna be the center of the DC universe? You think that character specifically everyone's gonna fawn over as if you're fucking Spider-Man or Batman or Iron Man? No, yeah, Black Adam. Everyone's gonna love it, and like, it's gonna be epic.
Behind the scenes was that Dwayne did not want Shazam to be Black Adam's rival, even though...
Which is crazy! That they're literally Shazam and Black Adam are like Batman and Joker. You know what I mean? Like, they're just... Ugh. Still haven't watched it? Don't watch Black Adam. Do yourself a favor and never watch that fucking movie. Oh my god.
Oh, that's how the original story is written. Instead, he wanted Black Adam to fight Superman, who is a much more...
And also beat Superman, by the way. Thank God, Black Adam and Superman never fought in a movie, because, like, I swear The Rock will try to finesse his way into winning the fight on screen against Superman. Dude.
Iconic mainstream character. Bro just wants Black Adam to be DC's Thanos and go up against Superman to lead to an eventual draw because his ego is inflated, and also he puts in the contracts that his character can't be beaten. But when John Cena got his chance to play a DC character, he did the opposite. He trusted the writers,
I forgot that they were both in the DC.
directors, and actually satisfied fans with his role as Peacemaker in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Peacemaker is a violent, ultra-patriotic mercenary who is both ruthless and hilariously misguided.
Look, at the end of the day, The Rock, John Cena is a team player. He's always up for, like, what's best for the group. But The Rock is more like, I'm the captain, I'm in charge. I'm going to do what's best for me.
Hold it flat. Nothing like a bloodbath to start the day.
They call you Peacemaker.
I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it.
He also lost the final fight in the film to Bloodsport, something The
It's
Rock
true.
would never do.
It's true.
Cena's performance was so good he got a spin-off TV series on HBO Max.
There you see, Batman doesn't kill people.
Because
He's a dark creature of the night.
he's a jackass who wrestles with murderers dressed like clowns and throws them in prison so they can break out of prison and then murder more people. Riddle me this. How many people you think Batman's indirectly murdered by being too much of a candy ass not to kill these fools who clearly need to be smoked once and for all, you wrinkly shit?
Wait a second. He called Batman a candy ass. It's great that The Rock called, like, the Fast and Furious crew candy asses. What the fuck?
Dimension-infested
Beneath the bravado exterior, Cena challenged himself to portray a deeply broken man struggling with trauma, self-worth, and the toxic influence of his father.
You killed my brother! You killed Keith! And you're only right about one thing, I am a piece of shit! I'm a piece of shit for listening to you for all those years!
This was a really good show. I need to rewatch it, to be honest. Seasons 2 is coming soon. I think Season 2 is coming out this year. I forget.
For not killing you in your sleep!
John Cena is the actor Dwayne Johnson thinks he is. While The Rock tried to undermine and replace decision makers at DC Studios, John Cena praised them.
What I will say is I'm very excited about certainly the new leadership at DC, because I love James Gunn as a human being and Peter Safran as well. I have the utmost respect for them as professionals. What you will see from DC in the future is the heart of James Gunn. He is not going to leave anything on the table. He will not make a vanilla movie that says movie on the end of it and then serve it to you. He will take chances, he will be brash, he'll do things his way, but you will get authentically his creative mind, which I think is brilliant. So whether the future of DC involves Peacemaker or not, as a fan and as a friend of James, I'm excited for the future of DC.
At this point, it seems like
the way John Cena presented himself was with such gravitas, with such high class. Like, that was great. Season 2 still hasn't happened. It's been too long. Well, the issue is Season 2 hasn't happened yet because of the whole, like, changeover at DC. Because when Season 1 came out, James Gunn wasn't in charge yet. He was just like, he made the Suicide Squad movie and then the Peacemaker show. He was still just like a creative at DC. But then he became the head of DC, and then he's like, all right, well, now I've got to do a reset the universe, create a Superman movie, and like he's just like got a bunch of stuff on his plate all of a sudden. So that's why Season 2 hasn't happened yet, but it is coming. I think it's this year, if I'm not mistaken. Peacemaker Season 2 release date. Yeah, August of 2025. So this year, a month after the release of Superman. There you go.
like what Cena is doing is intentionally being the opposite of The Rock, because he said he would support DC's vision whether or not he is included in future films, whereas The Rock was asked to make a cameo as Black Adam in Shazam 2, but said no. The Rock is also a family man, and John Cena shocked the world when he said he didn't want any kids.
I also know
Really?
the investment that it takes. And my biggest fear is, as someone who's driven many times stubborn and selfish. I try to approach the world with kindness and curiosity, but I don't think I'm personally ready, nor will I ever be, to invest the time it needs to be a great parent.
Even their Instagram.
He's like surprisingly mature. Like I think a lot of people judge on John Cena just like on characters he plays. But, like he really is like very like intelligent and like knows how to carry himself as a good person.
Accounts, which is a celebrity's main vehicle for promotion and public relations, couldn't be any more drastically different. The Rock uses his Instagram to relentlessly push his larger-than-life persona, but also tries to be relatable at the same time. He posts about him being the biggest, strongest, hardest-working man in the gym, who travels the world promoting his box office hit movies and is also the most electrifying entertainer of all time, all while having the perfect family, being humble, and having a heart of gold. But despite all of that, he claims to be just like you. One of his favorite ways to display that is with his cheat meals, because even though he is a 52-year-old with 262 pounds of pure muscle and an extremely strict diet, he needs some junk food for the soul, just like you. But these days, all of his cheat meal posts are interrupted with an ad for his tequila brand.
It's a case that I catch often. It's a case that you guys catch often too. It's a case of it's kind of Wednesday night case of the. And as you guys know, and for those of you who may not know, you catch the it's I'm gonna eat whatever I want, drink whatever I want, listen to whatever I want. It's Wednesday, midweek, we've worked hard, we've earned it, we deserve it, so let's go. So tonight, my consists of the sushi train, which is rolling out of the train station right now. As you see, a frosted bottle of Terramana right out of the freezer, how I like it. Terramana Añejo, which is my favorite, very sexy.
This is the one thing that The Rock had that everyone unanimously agreed made him actually relatable and human, but he ruined that by now turning the segment into just an ad for his tequila brand. Every facet of The Rock's existence is a carefully crafted PR campaign to sell you something. The Rock started out as an American football player, so he purchased a football league. The Rock likes the gym, so he started a gym clothing brand. The Rock has a skincare routine, so he started his own wellness brand. The Rock likes tequila, so he started his own tequila brand. The Rock likes energy drinks, so he started an energy drink brand. Sign up for The Rock's debit card. Listen to The Rock's Spotify playlist. If there's an area of his personality or life that can be exploited for profit, he will do it. John Cena's Instagram, on the other hand, is quite literally just a bunch of random photos with no captions that he wants you to decipher what they mean. He has never...
Also, it's the fact that, like, just the fact that, like, The Rock, like, just pushes so many products and ads on everybody, but, like, John Cena doesn't have to do that, because, like, he can, like, make money without having to do all that. So I just, like, I don't know. And I don't even want to look up their net worth just to compare. Actually, you know what, fuck it, let's do it. The Rock... net worth. I mean, it doesn't mean much because net worth usually are false. Not available for the search. What? Okay, who has a net worth of $800 million? What about John Cena? 80 million.
Posted a picture of his face. He doesn't disguise some life moment as an advertisement. He doesn't try to glamorize his life or tell you about it at all. He treats his Instagram like art.
It has become like art, and I think there's not enough vehicle for interpretation nowadays. Everything is presented and thoroughly explained. I want people to think for themselves, and I've dropped some serious clues and spoilers on there and like real inside baseball stuff, but if you're not looking for it, you don't know. And I don't care if you know, because that's not the point. The point is, if you come to there as a forum, you can check out the images, you can get a look into my life, or maybe you can get a look in your own life.
And The Rock thinks that what his art is authenticity.
Do you consider yourself an artist? I have a theory about what your art is, but I'm curious what you think.
What I feel the art is authenticity. That's what this art is.
Perhaps this is the ultimate difference between these two men. The Rock will tell you he is authentic, and John Cena will just be authentic.
Yep, that's right. Wow, what a video. What a video. Yeah, I definitely learned way more. It's very clear. Patrick Cece did a good job of conveying the type of guy The Rock is and the type of guy John Cena is. And I think it's, yeah, we got the picture. We got the picture. So, good video.